Early mornings are supposed to be quiet, predictable, safe, especially for someone who has walked the same path for more than 30 years. But one morning in Kiambu, that path turned into a crime scene. Today, we are telling the story of Ruth Mwelu Mbula, a 69-year-old grandmother, mother, hardworking businesswoman whose life was taken in a way that shocked a community. It devastated her family and reignited conversations about violence against women in Kenya. The facts we share today come from verified news sources. This is Crime Dopers, where we tell stories that deserve to be remembered with dignity, truth, and empathy. I'm your host, Wanja, and this is the story of Ruth Mwelu Mbula. Before we begin, a quick note. This episode discusses violence against a senior woman. Listener discretion is advised. And if you or someone you know is experiencing violence, scroll to the show notes for helplines, organizations, and safe reporting resources. Your life matters. Your safety matters. Let's go back to where this story begins. Kiambu County, a busy, ever-growing place. A mix of farmland, estates, and small businesses lined with families who have lived there for decades. And among them was Ruth, a woman described as hardworking, quiet, disciplined, loving. She had been running a small hotel that is a food business with her daughter. Every morning she left home early. She walked the same route. She bought the same supplies from the same market vendors. People greeted her. They knew her rhythm. She was 69, but strong, active, independent. Someone her family relied on. Someone her community trusted. And on this particular morning, nothing seemed unusual. She wakes up early, say around 5 a.m. The air is cold. Her house is still. She ties her headscarf, wears her sweater, picks up her small shopping bag, closes the gate behind her, and begins her familiar walk toward the market. Nothing loud, nothing strange, just another day. But it wasn't. Ruth's daughter was expecting her at the business that morning. They usually updated each other early about supplies, customers, tasks for the day. But on this day, her mother didn't show up. At first she thought, maybe she delayed at the market. Maybe she met a friend, or maybe she's in traffic. But as minutes turned into hours, that light worry became a knot in her stomach. She calls her mother's phone. No answer. She calls again. No answer. Her mother always picked up, always. That's when she decided to retrace her mother's route. She walks outside. The sun is rising, vendors are opening their stalls. The normal noise of Kiambu fills the air. But something else is waiting. Something no family should ever have to see. She sees people gathered near a ditch. A whisper in the air, a mama traveling from one shocked face to another, and then a body, a woman's body. The daughter looks closer and sees the sweater, the headscarf, the slippers. Her mother. This is the moment that everything changes. This is where the mystery begins, where questions pile up, where grief turns into a demand for answers. The next part of the story gets even heavier, but it must be told. When Ruth's daughter recognized the body in the ditch, everything stopped. The world didn't make sense anymore, not the morning sun, not the routine her mother had always followed, not the cold steel shape lying before her. This was her mother, a woman who left home alive but didn't return. And the question hit immediately. What happened between home and here? The ditch was shallow, the mud still damp. Her slippers lay close by as if she had struggled or fallen. Nearby residents, market vendors, and boda riders gathered around. People tried to piece together what could have happened, but the truth was missing. Ruth didn't collapse, she didn't fall. Someone hurt her. Hours hours later, the postmortem confirmed the family's worst fears. Cause of death, strangulation. Additional trauma, blunt force injuries to the head. And not just that. She was abused. She was raped. She was sodomized. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't natural. It was intentional. Police followed the route Ruth usually took, trying to understand where she might have been ambushed. But the morning hours were tricky. Quiet, shadows everywhere, most people indoors, hardly any witnesses. Some locals reported seeing her walking toward the market earlier. But no one saw what happened next. A woman on her routine path, a familiar road, a predictable pattern. Sometimes that's all it takes for someone with cruel intentions to strike. The attacker might have watched her routines, known the time she left home, known she walked alone, known the path wasn't monitored. We don't know. We only know that she never made it to the market. When police arrived, they cordoned off the ditch, photographed every detail, looked for footprints, searched for disturbed grass, collected clothing fibers, took soil samples, but the area was open. People had already gathered. The scene had been stepped on, evidence easily contaminated. This is one of the biggest challenges in Kenyan crime investigations. Public curiosity destroys vital clues before officers even arrive. Police questioned residents, asked if anyone heard screams, saw movements, noticed strangers, but early morning crimes are ghosts. Silent, fast, invisible. Her daughter told reporters, and I quote, "I knew something was wrong when she didn't arrive at the hotel. She has never missed a day." End of quote. Her voice cracked as she described finding her mother. The shock, the helplessness, the unfairness. Ruth was supposed to grow old peacefully. She was supposed to enjoy her grandchildren. She was supposed to go home that night. Instead, she became another statistic in a growing crisis. The community erupted in anger. People questioned security, lighting, patrolling, why women, elderly women, were still unsafe in 2025. Online, comments flooded in. And I quote, "How can a grandmother be murdered on her way to work? We need justice for Ruth. This country is no longer safe for women." End of quote. Her death joined a larger conversation, a painful one, a familiar one. The pattern was undeniable. Girls, women, seniors, attacked in places they knew well by people who were unseen and unpunished. Police promised, and I quote, "a thorough investigation." They collected soil samples, biological samples, clothing, surveillance leads, witness statements, but they did not name a suspect. They did not confirm a motive. They did not announce an arrest. And that silence is where fear grows, because when no one is named, anyone could be capable. And when the attacker is unknown, he could still be out there walking freely, watching someone else's mother, someone else's daughter, someone else's routine. Ruth's story doesn't end here. Her impact didn't stop with her death. Her life sparked something, a wave of calls for justice, protection, and accountability. Ruth's death didn't just shake her family. It didn't just wound the neighborhood. It ignited a conversation that Kenya has been trying and failing to avoid for years. A conversation about women, safety, patterns, and a system that keeps failing. Her murder became part of something bigger, something painful, something long overdue. In the days following her death, Kenyans on social media expressed grief, anger, and disbelief. People wrote things like, and I quote, "A 69-year-old woman going to work. Who kills a grandmother? We are unsafe at home, unsafe at work, unsafe in between. When will justice stop being a suggestion and become a guarantee?" End of quote. Women shared their own fears, walking early in the morning, taking shortcuts, being alone on routes that should be safe. Men expressed shock at the brutality. Elders wondered what the world had become. And slowly, Her name became more than a headline, it became a symbol. A reminder that violence does not choose age or time or place or type of woman. It just strikes. Months later, activists launched what became known as the Red Lipstick Campaign, a push to have femicide officially recognized as a unique crime in Kenya. The campaign listed several women whose deaths represented a national crisis, and among those names was Ruth Mwelu Mbula. Her face, her age, her final walk, her story, it became part of a larger message. And I quote, "Women are not safe, and Kenya needs to do something." For many, Ruth was the proof that the crisis didn't affect only the young. It affected everyone: teenagers, mothers, grandmothers, rich, poor, urban, rural. Violence was not choosing its victims, it was simply happening. Criminologists and psychologists weighed in. Here are the main points they raised, all based on general expert commentary about gender-based violence patterns in Kenya. Number 1, predictable routines make women vulnerable. Attackers often exploit routines. They look for patterns. Early morning routines are quiet, less populated, making women easier targets. Number 2, elderly women are often underestimated victims. Their physical vulnerability means attackers may believe they can overpower them with little resistance. Number 3, lack of CCTV, lighting, and patrols increases crime. In many peri-urban towns, early morning routes are poorly lit and completely unmonitored. Number 4, gender-based violence is not always intimate partner violence. Sometimes it's opportunistic. Strangers can and do attack women based on perceived vulnerability. Experts agreed this wasn't just about Ruth. It was about Kenya's failure to protect women consistently and effectively. Her funeral was filled with heartbreak. Elders shaking their heads, women wiping tears, men looking stunned, unable to process how someone so gentle could face such an ending. Families spoke about her kindness, her work ethic, her presence, her love, her role as a mother and grandmother. People kept asking the same question: why her? Why like this? But crimes like this rarely have answers, not the kind that heal, not the kind that make sense. Months passed. Investigators followed leads, interviewed locals, reviewed patterns, but no suspect was named. No arrest was announced, no motive confirmed, no trial opened. Just silence. The kind of silence that hurts. The kind of silence that deepens wounds. The kind of silence that leaves families between grief and unanswered questions. Ruth's attackers are still out there, walking free, hidden in plain sight, a danger that never got a name. And in that silence, Kenyans were forced to confront a terrifying truth. If a grandmother walking a familiar morning route is not safe, then who is? We've walked through Ruth's final morning. We've retraced her daughter's heartbreak. We've listened to the community's fear. And we've seen how her death became a symbol, a reminder that even a grandmother on her routine path is not safe. So now, we end with what this story means. Not just for Kiambu, not just for Ruth's family, but for Kenya. Ruth wasn't out late at night. She wasn't traveling far. She wasn't in a dangerous area. She wasn't meeting strangers. She was going to work, doing what she had done for decades. Her life teaches us one truth. Violence doesn't need an excuse, it needs opportunity. And Ruth's predictable routine, her walk in the quiet early morning, her age, they created an opportunity for someone with dark intentions. Activists say Kenya is facing a femicide crisis, not because women are doing something wrong, but because predators feel emboldened. Because our systems fail to prevent violence. Because our investigations often stall. Because arrests take too long. Because women's safety is still not treated as a national emergency. Ruth's story became part of that conversation. Her age, 69, shocked many. Her routine, familiar and safe, made people uneasy. Her innocence, undeniable, made the injustice unbearable. Her death became proof. Violence is not a women's issue, it's a Kenyan issue, a human issue, a justice issue. Up until now, Ruth's attacker has not been named, not arrested, not charged. The case remains open. and the family remains in a painful waiting room between grief and unanswered questions. But here's what Crime Dopers does. It remembers. It brings attention. It keeps pressure. It refuses to let silence bury the truth. Ruth was more than just the last thing that happened to her. She was a hardworking mother, a woman who built a life for her family, a familiar face in her community, a person who woke up early to provide a grandmother who deserved to grow old peacefully. She deserved safety, she deserved dignity, she deserved justice. And even though her case is unsolved, her story is not forgotten. Not here, not on Crime Dopers, not by her community, not by the activists fighting for change, not by her daughter who carries her memory every day. If Ruth's story teaches us anything, it's that safety should not be a privilege, should be a right. A grandmother on her way to work should not die in a ditch. A daughter should not have to find her mother like that. A family should not have to live with unanswered questions. But until justice comes, we tell the stories, we say their names, we hold the light on the places where darkness thinks it can hide. Because remembering them keeps their stories alive. It's the first step towards justice. If you want to support families affected by gender-based violence, if you want to help prevent more cases like Ruth's, scroll to our show notes and you will find GBV helplines in Kenya, safe houses, legal support organizations, mental health resources, reporting channels. Share them, save them, use them. Someone's life may depend on it. And if you're listening from anywhere in Kenya, check on women around you. Walk with them when you can. Report suspicious activity. Raise your voice when something feels wrong. We refuse to let Ruth become another statistic. We refuse to move on without demanding safety, justice, and accountability. For her, for every woman, for every family. Thank you for listening to this episode of Crime Dopers. If this story moved you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode. It helps bring awareness, it helps demand justice, it helps keep these stories alive. Join us next week when we investigate another case that Kenya must not forget. Until then, stay aware, stay safe, and stay loud, because silence protects no one.